Hello and welcome to the Choice Wisdom Podcast. My name is Gayle Goodman Lynch, and I am so happy that you are here. We are delighted to share this most recent published episode of Choice Wisdom. It's about laughter, where Louisa and I laugh a lot, and we talk a lot about laughter. However, it is an older episode. We do make a lot of references to things that happened earlier this year, like March Madness, for example. But the reason we hadn't published it yet is because we wanted to send out a couple of episodes with some of our interviewed guests first. One of them being Lena McDermott, which was published a couple of weeks ago. And if you haven't heard that episode yet, you might want to listen because this one is a nice complement to that one because we talk about laughter at work a lot in this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome back to the Choice Wisdom Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gayle Goodman Lynch.
And I'm your other host, Louisa and Gayle.
And we are here to talk about all things good choices and making a good life, right, Louisa?
That is exactly right. And today we're talking about laughter.
I love this idea because I want to laugh more.
We need to laugh more. We teased this in our very first episode of season 3, and we talked about how the fun fact that babies laugh 300 to 400 times a day.
Wow.
And then adults laugh about 15 to 20 times a day. And that change happens. I mean, how big of a drop is that from let's call it 350, from 350 down to 17?
Not surprising, but crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, why is it not surprising to you?
I think it's because as you start to adult, everything seems so serious, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going through this right now because my daughter is almost 19. I'm excited, empty nest coming, all that great stuff. She's excited because she gets to go off to college and have a new experience. But at the same time, there's like this whole adult thing going on. Like, how do you actually adult? And I find when I describe it to her, I describe it in sort of like a monotone, this is really serious. Hey, listen, we need to talk about it. And I think she's a little scared to adult now, thanks to me. And so clearly I need to find the humor in growing up a little bit.
But adulting is overrated.
I know.
We've been doing it for a while. We've been adulting for a while, and adulting, it's overrated.
I think once you get to midlife, for sure, you're ready to like sort of take a step back and stop adulting quite so much. Why did we take it so seriously in our 20s and 30s and like 40s? What were we thinking?
Well, there's responsibilities, there's stress factors, there's life.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always breed joy.
Very true. But it could breed joy.
100%.
It's all it's a head game though, right? Like it's all in how you perceive it and how you expect your day to go.
Exactly.
Like if you're going to wake up in the morning and say, ugh, I'm just sort of dreading today. Right. And I thought about this actually this morning. I was thinking, and I used to wake up, especially like in my 20s and 30s when I was working a regular job and climbing the corporate ladder. I would wake up most days just kind of dreading the day. Like I would make a list of all the things that I knew were going to be hard. Like I knew they were going to be hard. And then I realized thinking back on it, it's like, how did I know they were going to be so hard? Like I'd already made up my mind before I even got out of bed as to how my day was going to go. And
right.
Exactly what I expected. Exactly.
Why do you think you were like, today's going to be hard? Like what made that mindset be the mindset?
I think because when I was growing up, and, if I think about like my childhood, right? Because when we get to midlife, we start talking about like how all our childhood stuff starts showing up a lot, And I got to thinking about this because I realized that in my household, I mean, I didn't have like a traumatic, awful childhood kind of thing. A lot of people deal with a lot of trauma in their back history. And there was some of that. But I think just the general theme of life in my household was sort of like life was something that you had to kind of endure and sometimes enjoy.
Got it.
You
Got
know,
it.
like it
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
life was joyful as a default setting and occasionally bad stuff happens. It was the other way around. It was like, okay, well, expect the worst, but maybe
Yeah.
today you might actually laugh a little bit. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with it. And it informed, of course, how you grow up, right? And then you get to that adulting stage and you think, okay, that's how adults behave because that's what my parents thought.
Yeah.
And we just sort of repeat the cycle until I got a little older. And then I realized, okay, wait a second. If I wanna have a joyful life and I keep saying, "Okay, I gotta slog through the day, and maybe on Friday or Saturday I can have fun." Well,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 days from now is always gonna be 2 days from now if you don't
It's
start showing up and laughing more and loving your life right now,
exactly.
like this second.
Exactly. And it's always wait until the weekend. I'll have
Yeah.
fun, like, I'll enjoy myself on the weekend. I'll do something that lights me up on the weekend, but life is happening every day.
Right, and I mean,
Yeah.
7 days out of the week, you only get 2 out of the 7 to have any sort of fun, and the rest are
Yeah.
all like a nightmare. I mean, that's
Mhm.
not life when you think about it. I mean, we all that's the life we all kinda create, a lot of us create,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it doesn't
And
have to be that way.
it's not even a whole day though, because it's
Right.
Saturday, and then Sunday you're getting ready for the week. And then it starts all over, right?
I do remember so many times, like, when I worked a tough corporate job, like, Sunday afternoon, evening, I'd start feeling sick to my stomach, or I'd get a headache. Like, I mean, it was, like, coming, and my body was telling me, "Man, there's something out of whack here," and
Yeah.
I'd waste a good half of my Sunday worrying about what was gonna happen for the next 5 days. Yeah,
So
you're right.
I looked up some stats. So we were talking about babies laugh 350 times a day.
Yep.
Adults laugh around 17 times a day. And they were like, that's a significant drop, but the change doesn't happen all at once. It starts to decline around age 5 to 7, right
Mm.
when structure, school, social awareness, and expectations kick in. Let's
Ooh,
talk about that.
let's talk about that. Well, it's so funny. I had a guest on, I think it was the first or second season of Choice
Hmm.
Wisdom. So I have a friend, her name is Rebecca, and she talks about like the nature of work. And she wrote a book not too long ago about the idea that the nature of work and the way we work in workplaces sort of starts with that school age system. And it's that very
Hmm.
industrial age model.
Yeah.
It's the you have to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day processing and creating output. And then we're so focused on output and outcome that we forget to have any joy in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
And that's the struggle, right? But we learn it, like you're just saying, right around, first grade, second grade. I mean, I remember
Right.
when I sat down in first grade, I had my little desk and I had my little primers and
This
we
is
could
where
go
you
out and do a
sit.
potty break.
Right.
We could
Right.
have a milk break, but that was about it.
And but because
You were
before
learning.
you were learning everything, everything was new. Like you were
Right.
literally witnessing things in real time for the first time. And
Yep.
everything was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like I have my youngest niece is 5 months old. And so I get to go over there
Oh,
and babysit her from time to time. And she's discovering like her hands and just
oh,
stuff, right?
I love
And
that.
it's like, she's looking at her hands and she's just like, "Oh," it's so wondrous to her.
Yeah, and
And
she's smiling while she's doing it,
she's
right?
smiling. She's like, "Oh my
Laughing.
God, what are these things?
What could I do with that? Oh
What
my
can
god.
I do?" And she's learning the functionality of her hands. She's like, "Oh, I can do stuff with it. I can grab stuff with it." And it's amazing. And she giggles because that's what babies do. Cause it's like, that's awesome. I have hands. I have fingers. That's amazing.
That's kinda old hat for us, but maybe every now and again, we should just marvel at the fact that, you know what? I got 5 fingers on each hand, and, I do amazing things with my hands.
Let me tell you. So I am getting a little arthritic in my knees. Not a little, a
Oh,
lot. A lot. But I was told when I tore my ACL a long time ago. And when I went to the doctor was like, "Yeah," I guess he could tell it in my bones. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have arthritis probably around 40." And I was like, "Okay,
really?
well, as a 10-year-old, 40 is so long away, right?" But right now, I marvel at people who can just get up and down, who can stand up and sit down with no problem. I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing."
Oh my gosh, and and you're laughing about it. I love it
I
because
am. I'm
it's
like,
so
"Man, I
fun.
wish I had knees like that."
I wonder if having that seed planted when you were 10 years old that you were going to have this problem
Maybe.
could have created the problem. I
Also
mean, that's a
true.
notion,
Yeah, because
you
you
know?
also manifest things, even like things that you don't necessarily want. But if you're
Right.
thinking about them, if you're putting it in the back of your brain, it's there. And
Or if
so
there's a belief there,
there's
right?
a belief system there.
There was another study done of people that, like, adopted children versus children that came from
Mhm.
families of blood lineage,
Yeah.
and they talked about, like, the chronic problems that a family would have, so, like, heart disease running in a
Mhm.
family or colon cancer or
Yep.
whatever it might be, and it showed that in most instances where a child was adopted into a family did not have the same genetic history, they wound up with the same problems as the kids with the genetic history.
Really?
Something interesting to think about there because that's that whole nature nurture type of
Yeah.
thing. We have
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
conversations all the time. I almost feel like we can talk ourselves into some things,
I
and it's
agree.
quite possible if you talk yourself into it that you could also talk yourself out of it. I don't know.
I agree. And I think mindset has a lot to do with it. And that
I
also,
agree.
if you have a mindset of joy, as you know, I love to laugh. I do.
You do. You
I mean,
inspire me.
I let it rip. I let it go. I don't necessarily laugh. I cackle, and I know that about myself. But I also know that when something is funny, I want to laugh. Like I'm not going to hold it in. I am going to let you know that whatever you just did or said was hilarious.
And it's so infectious when you do it. I mean, because you have like you call it a cackle. I think it's one of the most marvelous laughs I've
Oh, thank you so
ever heard.
much.
I mean, seriously, and I'm not just buttering you up. I really do because it's so from the belly true joy
Yeah,
when you laugh. Like it just, it's just infectious. I mean, like it makes people want to laugh. Every time you laugh, I have to laugh.
I love it. I love it. I
I
got in
do. Every
trouble.
time you laugh.
I got in trouble, and this was not that long ago.
Uh-oh.
So my godfather, R.I.P., he passed away. Ooh, oh wow, it's been 4 years.
Wow.
Has it?
Sorry.
22. This is 26, right? Yeah.
Yep,
Oh
sure
my
is. Yeah,
goodness.
4 years.
Oh my goodness, that went by fast. And that isn't that what life is? And like life just keeps lifing.
Yes, it keeps lifing and keeps going, and then you realize, "Oh my gosh, 4
Yeah,
years."
it's been 4 years. So he was a deacon at my mom's church. So my mom goes to a family church. I go there too from time to time, and it's literally families, and we're all there having church together. It's beautiful. And I was with my friend. She said something, and I can't remember what she said. And the church is not that big. So on a good day, there might be about 30 people there. At that time, I think there was about maybe 20 people. So it's not a very big church, right?
Right, that's
She
a small
said,
church.
it is, it's very small. She said something that set me off. I couldn't stop. It was in the middle of service. And you know my laugh, right? And I am just laughing. I'm like, I'm cackling. My godfather looks over me. He's like, Louisa. I said, yes.
"Yes, sir.
Like, stop. I said, I can't.
I can't hold it in. I just
And
can't."
because I got in trouble, it made it even funnier. And I was like, oh my God, I am going to get a talk. Literally, this was like 5 years ago.
I know, you're like
I'm
you're
an
total
adult.
grown up by now, right? I'm gonna mean talking to you from
I am a full
my
grown
godfather.
adult.
Well, it's his job to make sure that you go to church and do it right, Louisa. That's what he's taking his
Man,
job
I got
seriously.
reprimanded, and everybody was. And then when I got reprimanded, because there's only 20 or so people there, everybody else started laughing because I'm in trouble.
And I'm sure it probably made that service so much more joyful when you got 20 people laughing about, and then they can't even remember what they're even laughing about, but they're just laughing.
I cannot
Oh my
tell you what
gosh.
she said. I don't know what she said, but it was hilarious, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop.
Well, and
He was like, "Louisa." I said, "Oh,
oh.
but I can't stop. I can't
I
stop.
can't
I'm
stop. Gotta
sorry."
keep going. Well, and I wish people wouldn't stop, honestly, because it is so infectious. I had this situation with I started out this conversation saying my daughter and I are having all these serious
Yeah.
conversations thanks to me. But yesterday she remembered something that happened at school that, I mean, it just tickled her. I mean, we were driving home and she was just laughing until she cried about something that happened at school, like, I don't know, a year ago. And she reminded me of it. And then we were both laughing until we cried, probably for about 30 minutes. I'm not joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I felt lighter when I got out of the car than I always enjoy our ride home from school, but I was like, that particular day yesterday, I just felt almost like I could, like, soar to the moon. I was so lifted up by
I
all the
love
laughter.
that. That was gonna be one of my questions. When was the last time you laughed really, really hard?
Well, it was yesterday, but
Yeah.
it's kind of an uncommon situation, right? It was one of those situations like you were talking about in church, though. It's just like it set it off, and then you were laughing so hysterically you, like, couldn't stop yourself. It was
Yeah.
one of those. Those don't happen as often, for
Mhm.
sure. But, it's funny. I think you and I talked about this a week or 2 ago where I was just like, when you were talking about doing a discussion around laughter, I started noticing how little or how much I laugh, and I realized just how serious I am all the time, and it's because I'm a very
Mm.
driven person.
Yeah.
So, like, when focused, I don't laugh. And, in fact, my daughter and I were talking about this yesterday because she's in cheer, and I was talking about how they did a really great job at the game last night too, and she
Mhm.
said they were doing this pyramid, and the girl who does the pyramid, did a really great job, and she said, "Yeah," and she even remembered to smile, which I didn't because she was, apex of the pyramid last year, and she goes, "I always forgot to smile because I was concentrating so
Yeah.
hard." And I
Yeah.
said, "Somehow we need to connect concentration to
Mm.
joy, like, and smiling. Like, it's like when I concentrate, I smile."
Yeah.
I probably would laugh more if I made that association, right? It's like habit stacking.
Yeah.
They talk about that habit stack is like, okay, if you always go to the refrigerator and pick out a snack at 10
Mhm.
o'clock in the morning, then associate some other good habit that you want to form around that.
Right.
Also get yourself another cup of water or whatever,
Right.
that kind of stacking thing. And I wonder if we can stack the habit of laughter onto different situations. It's like, okay, when I do this, I have to laugh or smile.
Yeah. And that's funny you should mention that because have you ever heard of laughing yoga?
No,
It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a
it sounds
thing.
amazing.
Yeah. And
Tell
so
me more about that.
it's a thing, right? And so basically, your body cannot tell the difference between a fake laugh and a real laugh.
That
So,
is true.
yeah,
Yeah. I've done it in meditation before and breath. Yeah.
breath work, same. And so it is basically in, I meant to bring up the thing, but I didn't, but that's okay. I think I can remember. But it's basically like you do 3 laughs. So let's do it together. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's just like, ha, ha,
Ha, ha,
ha.
ha.
Okay. And then you like take a deep breath. And then as you're letting out, you go,
Like a very theatrical laugh.
like a very, because you're letting out the breath. It's very theatrical, right? And then you do it again, a
Yeah, I love that.
deep breath in. And then
See, and
eventually,
there's so
yeah,
much power behind that, though. You can feel the power the second time you do it. Like, you're really
exactly.
in it. It's not fake anymore. It's, like,
Exactly.
legit.
And eventually, when you're doing it, the fake laugh turns into a real laugh. And then that's where the joy comes in. So look that up. It's laughing yoga. And there's a whole, like, there's a clap thing that goes with it. There's
Oh
breathing
my
that
gosh,
goes
so
with it. Yeah. And
fun.
then there's just like, the just getting it out and then just keep going until you crack yourself up.
I think you make an absolute perfect that is a perfect notion, honestly,
Uh-huh.
because laughter doesn't have to be real to begin with
Right.
to get it started, right? It's just like maybe laughter is therapeutic.
Yeah.
And then even if you don't feel like laughing, force yourself to do it. And then maybe you'll get yourself, where you want to be with that joy, that actual joyful feeling under it. Although, here's a question though.
Mm.
Can laughter be like damaging to the soul in some way? Is there
What
a
do you mean?
situation where that might happen?
Explain.
It just hit me this self-deprecation. Like when we laugh at ourselves, but we put ourselves down at the
Yeah.
same time, I would say that's not healthy laughter.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. I
We
think
should
about how
not
I
do
used to
that.
do that a
Yeah.
lot, like, "Oh, ha, 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 look at it. I messed that up. I'm so stupid." It is like if you're
Why do
reaffirming
we do
yourself.
that? Why do
Well,
you why do we
yeah.
because, I mean, and it's not just like it happens. People we have that negative self talk where like maybe we think we did something silly and then you're automatically going to be like, oh, you're so stupid. Why do we do that? Why do you think?
I think it's because we do take things a little too seriously and we don't love ourselves enough.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
that's the problem. It goes back to that whole idea of self-love. And we talked about that on this show too. It's just like if your internal monologue, and we all have it, is constantly criticizing you or telling
Yeah.
you, putting you down, it's so hard to be joyful in the world and be kind to other people because you're not kind to yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we don't laugh as much either, because we're always looking inward for the problem that we are,
Yeah.
when technically we are not a problem. We're just
At
people. We're
all.
humans, beautiful humans that
Yeah.
encounter issues or problems in the world, and how you show up for it is the definition of how well you're doing inside.
Yeah. Yeah. And with our humanness, like every layer is beautiful. Even like
Absolutely.
the things that maybe get a little grimy, even that part, because that's
Yeah.
where you learn. That's where you figure some things out. Like life isn't always going to be up here, but that doesn't mean that when life is a little down here that there still isn't joy.
Right. And you may not be laughing when you're
Yeah.
dealing with that kind of stuff, but you can still feel peace and you
Yeah.
can still feel joy.
Yeah.
And then you can pivot a little bit and tell yourself a really great joke or remember that time in church and laugh your booty off.
I think about it every so often. Every so
And I
often
bet
I
you
think
laugh a
about it.
lot every time you do.
I do, because his birthday is coming up. It's in April.
Aw.
Yeah, so my mom was born April 14th and my godfather was born April 16th. So they
Oh,
always had
wow.
a special connection because of their birthdays. So yeah, his birthday is coming up and I think it's because of that I've been thinking a lot about him. But yeah, I can't believe it's been that long. But
Well,
he
you
was
can
fun.
add me to the list because I'm an April 19th birthday. So,
Yeah,
you know,
you are.
I'm on
The
the very tail end of the Aries group.
very yeah, of the
Yep.
Aries. What what made me laugh about my godfather is that he giggled. Like, he didn't have a laugh, he giggled. He had
He had
he
low
was
key. The kids all talk about low key now. He had low key laugh.
he had a low key laugh. It was so funny because he was like 6'4", 6'3", something like that. A very tall
Wow.
man.
He's a
Like,
big
he was
guy.
a big guy, right? And like he wasn't like a like stout, but he had a build. So he was when he walked into the room, his presence was felt. But whenever something tickles him, he giggled. It was like I said, that's I
Like a
loved it because
baby.
like a
His
little
little inner
like
baby would
it
come
was
out.
so funny and I love it. I love when people are so authentically them in their laughter and in their joy that I cackled, he giggled. It was hilarious. It was the funniest thing.
And I love that there are different kinds of humor. So,
Yeah.
usually every morning we hear, I'm actually in my business office today where we run a sign company, and my husband and I run it together, and we have a shop
Yeah.
manager. We always have our executive team meeting first thing in the morning, kind of talk
Hmm.
about, what's on the board and these kind of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Now I'm, Miss Serious Gayle, it's like, "We got this, we got to do this." And the two of them will not allow me to keep doing it because
I love
they're
it.
both very droll. They have droll humor, but they'll say something that makes me go, you were making a joke. And they won't laugh. They'll just like say something that like interrupts my flow of like, we gotta get this done and we've got
Yeah.
18 estimates to send out today, blah, blah, blah. And they literally like will arrest me in the moment by just coming off the wall with some crazy thing, but it's very deadpan.
But that's
Because
beautiful
they're all
though.
straight men, and
Yeah.
it makes me pause and stop, and then I laugh. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm being serious.
That's
So,
beautiful that they could see your seriousness and they know that the things that you're talking about, yes, all of that needs to get done.
well, and that's the thing, right? Because we all know it is serious business and that we want to serve our clients well, but we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
we're going to show up here and just sort of slog all day long, no one has fun doing that.
Right.
And this is a fun business. Like, I mean, every job is like completely different. Like, we're
Hmm.
doing cool things all the time. There's a lot of joy in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
lose that in the process and just make it a sloggy work thing, yeah, then no one's going to want to be here anymore if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I think that's
But I
why
love that they do that because then that takes you out of yourself. And
yes,
then
and
you
it
could be like, oh,
stops me.
yeah,
My self-awareness doesn't have to kick in because somebody else is seeing what I'm doing and pulling me out of it.
And pulling you out of it. And
Yeah.
that's beautiful. You should thank them for that.
I do. I every time I listen, because I'm also big on gratitude, right? I'm like, guys, thank you so much for reminding me to like not be so doggone serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can always count on those two, that's for sure.
Man,
So
I worked in an office environment and it was just heavy. Like when you walked into the room, you could feel the energy.
yeah.
And there was a time like I came into the office, and people were already there, and I felt it. I said, "Everybody okay?" Everybody, 'cause and they
If
were
only
looking at me.
you can, Louisa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I literally was like, "Is everybody all right?" And they were looking at me, they were like, "What?" I said, "Y'all don't feel that?"
You don't feel this like heavy, it feels like a wet blanket all over the place.
Yeah.
What
And
is
they were
going
like, "What are you
on,
talking
folks?
about?" I said, we need some joy. We need joy up in here because this right here, I don't like it. I don't like it.
And think about how much time you spend at your job. I mean, you spend more
Yeah.
time with your job than you do a spouse or the people you live with. And to have that all the time
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
hard. Yeah, somebody's
Man.
got to come break that up. Well, good. I'm glad you were trying to shake them out of that for sure.
Man, and so we used Teams, and so and it was like a big open area, and there were like pockets of spaces, and somebody that was working on a different pocket heard me because I'm loud, and so and so I was saying it out loud
You are
like,
unashamedly loud.
and I was like, "Are y'all okay?"
Hang right over there. I'm
Right.
not so sure.
And so she sent me a song via Teams, and it was like, it's gonna be a good day." And I just played it. I said, "You know what? We're gonna play this every morning because this is
Yeah.
ridiculous." Yeah,
Music helps a lot. I
100%.
had a conversation on email. I have a mastermind group of other owners of sign companies, and we're always joking, either on WhatsApp and someone sent an email chain that just got everybody rolling. We're all laughing every time
Yeah.
someone responded because it was really funny. And one of the suggestion was that we should sing, a song on our mastermind group today. So I
Ooh.
actually pulled up that song this morning in my house after the family left, and I just sang it. It was from Mamma Mia, Chiquitita.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I was walking around the house just singing it with my iPhone. I was just like, this feels wonderful. And it's like
Yeah.
it lifted my mood even that much more. So I mean, I think singing in the shower,
All of it.
singing in the car, do it every morning. That could lift you right up, no matter what your situation is. If you're already up here, it'll take you even higher.
Uh, and we can learn because babies do that. If you notice,
Yeah.
like babies will just be like, ah, and I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, they sing little songs to themselves and
They sing a little
they
song.
chatter,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
eventually it becomes musical because people like the music too, I think.
Yeah. And I think because I guess the word is institutionalized because once you get into school,
Yeah.
there's a system
It's
that
like
you
going
have to
into an
follow.
institution.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, basically.
Yeah, it's basically chain you to the desk.
Yeah, well, because
Crack that
before
whip.
that you were free, right? You were at your house. You could do
Yeah.
whatever you wanted. You could, if you wanted a snack, you can go wherever. But once that system is in place, nope, you got to be in your chair at
Yep.
your desk.
Yep.
And then that's where they say it was 5 to 7 is when you start being aware. Oh wait, hold on, I gotta not be as joyful as I was just yesterday at the house.
I do think that has a lot to do with it, and I think in terms of work, because I mean, a lot of the work I do in my other business is more consulting, coaching with the entrepreneurs, and creating a really great work environment
Yeah.
needs to allow for that flexibility of meeting people where they are
Hmm.
without this presumption that if you're not sitting and, focusing on the computer or in your chair for, a solid 2 hours working on
Man.
something that you're not getting anything done. Because I guarantee you, there's plenty of people who do that really well. Like they sit in institutionalized settings perfectly,
And
but
do
they don't
nothing.
get a doggone thing done. And then, there's maybe the person who has to pick a kid up from school in the afternoon and who works 2 or 3 hours and goes and does what they need to do at home, and then they come back on at night and work another hour or 2 to
Yeah.
fill their time, but they get so much more done.
Yeah.
Um, and I think as the more businesses can be flexible with people in their lives and allow lives to flow and business to flow together,
Yeah.
the more joyful all of us will be, and we will probably hear a lot more laughing at the office. than
Agreed.
we do now.
Agreed. Because like you just said, just because I'm at my desk and you can see me at my desk doesn't mean I'm doing work.
Doesn't mean you're doing anything, or you give a great appearance of doing some work, but nothing is really being.
Nothing is really being done, but because you require it, and eh, I think there's a
Yeah.
balance. And I have no qualms about going into an office doing it. If that's
No,
the if
me
that's the
neither.
policy,
I do
that's
it
the
every day.
policy, not a problem.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's got to be, because you and I work in communications, we're
Yep.
creative beings, and that creativity sometimes needs an outlet of, walking around, singing, being collaborative, and that helps the mind flow and more
Yep.
work can be done, but that also can look like to other people that you're just hanging out and not really doing work. So I
Yeah,
get
like
the
you're goofing
perception.
off.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And me, goof off time or white space is what I
Mm,
like to try to call it, because it's literally a blank canvas when you create the space.
mhm.
Then what comes in is something you never see when
Right.
everything's black and white. Like you're sitting at
Exactly.
your desk and you have to do certain things over a certain period of time. Yeah, this task orientation, I think, is I think that work is going to change a lot. It's going to be more, collaboration. I think there's going to be more flexibility. It's
Mhm.
going to be more allowance for the white space. And it used to be like they put a ping pong table in the conference room. Okay,
Yeah.
well, ping pong table's great too. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but just the mindset behind, oh, well, if I want to have fun, I have to go play ping pong, knowing that fun is part of the day
Yeah.
and it's part of the greater good of all concerned in
Yeah.
a workplace. That's a game changer right there.
I
And
think
I
so.
think smart leaders are going to embrace that really well.
Yeah. And so let's talk about like CEOs, businesses, people who have that structure. And there's nothing wrong with structure. I'm not saying structure is
I
bad.
think structure helps because we're all
Structure
used to
definitely helps.
structure. We kind of
Yeah.
crave it, really. We want at least some structure. We just don't want to feel like we're boxed into a little tiny cell.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
when it feels like that, it's too restrictive.
Right. So as a coaching consultant, and if you are going into an office where like you walk around and you could see everyone just in their little boxes, in their little cubicles or whatever, and there's no joy in the space, how would you talk to a CEO about bringing joy into a space?
This all comes back to communication for me every single time, because it's really the leader's role. Like the CEO sets the tone.
Mm,
And if the CEO is good at structuring the teams that need to work together
mhm.
and then has them meet, and like we do a morning meeting here in my office every day, mainly because it's a chance for all of us to share whatever's going on that maybe we might need help with, or just a quick update. But it's also a way for everybody to understand, okay, I clearly understand what's expected of me today, this week, this
Yeah.
month, whatever meeting we do that week. The first of the week meeting is more of a long-term meeting for like the whole week or the month ahead. If you can set those clear expectations that people know what it is they're expected to show up and give and produce in the
Mhm.
end, then let them go do their thing.
Yeah.
It's like if that means so and so is going to be at a standing desk for about 45 minutes working, but then it needs to go take a walk around the block to kind of clear the air and move to the next task. That should be allowed.
Yeah.
Like people should be allowed to do it in the manner that serves them, so long as they know I'm accountable
Yeah.
for getting this thing done or this
Right.
set of things done. I also think too that overloading people, which all leaders do this, it's like your task list winds up going from like
Mm,
3 things to 30 things.
man.
No one can get more. No one. And even me, I'm the get it done girl. I can't get more than 3 really significant things done in
Yeah.
any given day.
Right.
So prioritization is huge, but that's all communication. And I think a lot of leaders struggle with that because they forget, they think they've got their own to-dos they have to do. It's like your greatest job as the leader is to set that tone and to help people stack their day and prioritize what they're doing and understand fully what they're doing,
Yeah.
and then let them go do it. And then don't sit back there and go, oh, it doesn't seem like so-and-so's at his desk most of the day. I'm not really sure he's getting anything done. He may be
Man.
getting a whole lot done. You know, if he shows up at the end of the week and hasn't gotten anything done, that's a different
That's a
conversation.
different conversation. That's
Yeah,
a
but it's
different
not,
conversation.
I'm giving you all these tasks, but by 2 o'clock, I'm thinking, no, I'm not sure you're doing any of that stuff. So let's have another sit down. No,
Yeah.
give it 2 or 3 days, and
Yeah.
then people may surprise you. They may over deliver
Yeah.
if you let them run free to do it the one way that they're good at doing it. Designers are a perfect example of this because
Yeah.
most people I know who do graphic design are more like night owl people, and
Yes.
they do their best work at like midnight.
Right.
Me, I'm sound asleep and have been for like 3 and 4 hours, but that's when they shine. And maybe those people get to come in later into the office, because they're in
Yeah.
the middle doing their best work in the middle of the night. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just I think structure is good, like you say, but overstructure is just it's overkill,
It is.
And I think that's where companies really compress and they don't grow,
Yeah.
is when
And
they stop
and I
allowing
think
creativity.
yeah, agreed, agreed. And I think they have the hard and fast rule of, our hours are 8:30 to 5:30. You have to be here during this time,
And
which
you have
is
to be there in person, and even after COVID, remember, a
yeah,
lot of
and
companies were like, "No, no, you gotta come back to the office." It's like, it worked fine for 2 years.
yeah. I mean, which is fine, but also like you just said, have that flexibility knowing that people are going to go home and work. Who
Yeah,
because we work a lot. But at the same time,
we
we know
do.
we're going to work at nighttime and we're going to, send some emails or whatever because that's when a thought comes into your head. You're like, "Oh, this is going to solve the problem that I've been thinking about all day." And so you do something.
Yeah, and
You
I
should
wanna get this off my mind and go to bed with a clear conscience. Yeah, so someone might send an email at 8
yeah, and
o'clock
you
at night.
should have the
I've done it.
flexibility of be like, "Oh, well, she did send that email at 9 o'clock at night. She can come in at 10." But that's just company culture, and I think if we allowed more flexibility and allowed people to be more joyful in the office, people would love their job more and do
Absolutely.
more quality work because they can feel the love and the appreciation and the joy instead of the dread. And I think not a lot, I think some CEOs, managers think that they have to crack the whip and really be on top of you and micromanage in order to get it done. And I think that has the opposite effect.
I 100% agree. I have never seen that actually work very well. You will terrorize people, and you will make them fear you, and
Yeah.
they'll get it done out of fear because
Right.
they're like, "I don't wanna lose my job, I don't wanna lose my income," but they're not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And I had to take my mom to the doctor yesterday, and I was
Hmm.
talking to a guy who was doing this, treatment on her, and he just randomly nothing's ever random, of course, but he was talking about how he had recently been to Italy,
Hmm.
and he just loved the philosophy of Italians because he
Hmm.
said they lead with joy wherever they go. Like life is just
I
joyful
love
for them.
that. Yeah.
And it's very laid back. And he said it's so different a culture from America. And I said, yeah, well, because we're the people that really kill ourselves with work. Maybe not as much as the Japanese. They're
Yeah.
probably, top of the list of killing yourself with work, but we do it.
Yeah.
And we do it a lot. And if we could find, it's not even balance. I like to call it flow,
Mm.
because it's sometimes when work's going to be busy.
Sometimes
And
it's
there's
going to be
other
a lot of
times,
work. Yeah.
yeah, and you need to double down and put a little extra time in because you see the end goal and you see like, okay, it's a point in time I got to get this done. But then you also need to make a little space somewhere to let other things flow in and not keep that pace all the time. And I think that's what the Italians do really
Yeah.
well.
Well, I'll let
Yeah.
you know because I'm going to Italy in July. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm
I
glad
mean,
I brought that up. I didn't even know you were going to Italy. So now you got to go test that theory. You got to come back with notes
let me
and
tell
tell
you,
us how we're going to fix all our stuff, Louisa.
I am. I am. I'm excited. I'm
And we're going
glad.
to laugh about it when you do.
Yeah. I'm glad he gave that note because now I'm going to be more aware. I'm going to be like, ooh, oh, I see what he meant by that. Yes.
This comparison between, and I've heard that from so many people who've toured Italy. I have never been myself. So,
Mm.
I'm excited. I can't wait for you to go and
Yeah.
tell me all more
Yeah.
because,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But you still have to
just
go to
something
Greece
unique in
too.
Italian culture.
Yeah. You have to go to Greece as well.
I have never been there either.
Yeah.
So, have you been?
I went to Greece last year. I thought we talked about that. Did we not talk about this?
I don't remember us talking about
With
Greece. How did I
my, I
not know
went,
you went to Greece?
yeah, I
You
went
know
with my
what? I
mom
do
and my
remember you
godmother.
posting some photos, I think, on Facebook, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think we ever actually talked about it. Yes, that's right. You did.
And it's the same thing. They just live like because it's so beautiful there. It's like the
That's
most
part of it,
it's
I
the
think.
most beautiful place I've ever seen. Especially like I don't there wasn't a place in Greece and we also went to Turkey that I was like this is all right. It was just like it was wow. This is
Wow.
amazing. And you could just tell by the way people walked around, everybody had smiles on their faces. And just because it could be the weather, it could be the beautiful Mediterranean and just enjoying that part of it. But it was just a
Maybe.
culture too. It was just the way
Yeah, well,
they are.
culture though. You talk about
Yeah.
that like walking into that office where things felt heavy. That's why culture is so important.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a workplace or a family or a
Mhm.
church community or whatever, it's so vitally important because the
Yeah.
environment you create is what brings the joy.
A
And the joy is you're
100%.
right all the time, but you don't get to see it as easily when you're in an environment that kind of opts it out,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you could
And
also
if you get to be the person who comes in with the crazy joy, you're like swimming upstream sometimes. But
let
I
me tell you.
encourage anybody who's listening to this right now, be that person though. The world needs you to show up, laugh, love, and just tell people, you know what? If you think I'm crazy, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me
I'm
tell you.
gonna keep doing it.
Exactly. I had a bad day one day at the office, right? It was not happy. It was not joyful. It was
It was one of those days. I
it was
hear
one
you.
of those days. I had my headphones on. I was looking at the computer like, don't talk to me. It was one of those type of days.
That's rare for you,
It's
though. Oh
very
my
rare.
gosh. I can't
Like,
even
yeah,
picture it.
it was a heavy day. And so one of my coworkers, a sweet little guy who I've adopted as my nephew, his name is Alex. He
Oh,
was
another nephew. You need another of those, of
I
course.
know, I know, I know. He was so concerned. He didn't
It's
know what
like,
to
man, what happened to
he
Louisa?
didn't know
It's
what
like
to
they
do. He didn't know.
uninstalled the program.
Yeah, because we worked across from each other, and so every so often we'd look at each other, we'd make faces or whatever. And he said, "I kept looking over, and you had your headphones on, and you were in your computer, and I could tell you, Joy, I could tell you, Gail, I did no work that day."
Yeah, because you get nothing done when you have no joy. Yeah, heavy crushes everything. It crushes joy. It also crushes productivity.
Man,
So it's so funny. I didn't think we were when we were having this conversation to start out with. We were going to go so deep into like corporate cultures, but man,
yeah,
maybe that's because that's where the laughter died, Louise.
yeah, but it
I'm
started in
beginning to
school,
wonder. I
sitting at
think
that
maybe we
desk.
might have nailed it.
And you couldn't get up. And so now it's like it's carried over.
Yep, no freedom for you.
No,
Sorry. Slamming the door.
no
There's
freedom
the
for
laugh.
you.
There's the laugh.
You will sit here for 8 hours.
And
And
you
if
wonder
you
why job satisfaction is at an all-time low. And why literally my kid cannot wait to graduate high school. She's like so done with the sitting in a
Yeah,
classroom
yeah.
all day thing. I get it. She's gonna love. That's why people love college because you get to pick which class you take. You still have to take the same kind of class.
Yeah.
You still have to finish the degree program, but how you structure it is often very much your own solution. You
And
know,
it's more flexible
very
nowadays than
flexible.
it was when we were in college, right?
Exactly.
Because what was the word? So it's March Madness, as you know.
Yes.
And so they were doing a press conference with some of the players, and spring break had just ended. And one of the reporters were like, "Do you have class tomorrow?" And she said, "No, I'm a something." What was that word? Which basically is self paced.
Uh,
And like they give you,
asynchronous.
that's it.
Yes.
There you go.
I
I
love
knew you would know it.
asynchronous
I knew you would
learning.
know it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
so one of the basketball players like I have an 8 a.m. class tomorrow, and the other two were like, no, it's self paced. I have the syllabus. As long as I'm hitting these
Yep.
milestones, I'm good to go. And so I didn't have that when I was in college.
No, and I
Uh,
I taught a couple classes like that when I taught in the MBA program,
mhm,
for the University of Dallas, and we had asynchronous online courses. Now, we would
mhm.
sometimes meet at the same time, but most of the time it was completely asynchronous. Those people performed far better than people that were in the classroom.
Wow.
I guaranteed they were more creative. They
Why do you think
because they
that
were able to
is?
do it when it fit in their busy life.
Hmm.
Just get an MBA on top of working and having kids. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Squeezing it in where you need to is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's like an interesting balance, but it's all balance, right? Because like if
Hmm.
you go to college, because I remember I had a friend whose daughter went to college, and then it seemed like one semester she was doing all online courses, and he was like paying for her to live in the dorm out of state. He's
Wow.
like if you're doing all your classes online, why are you at school?
Yeah.
So there's a reason you attend in person too. I mean, I like the mix. I'm a hybrid fan.
Yeah.
Very reason. It's like come together sometimes, but then go do your thing
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then back together and discuss more. And I think you get a lot further with that personally.
I agree. I agree. And I think we need more of that flow in all areas of life, not
100%.
just work, not just school. I mean, just every relationship, like everything can be better with joy and flow instead of the rigidity of whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I find my greatest advice to anybody when you feel like you're stuck or you feel like you're kind of pushing upstream or like something's just hard, the best thing that I do is to just stop, pause for a moment, and think, how can I be more joyful in this situation? How can
Mm,
I allow more flow?
yeah.
And it's amazing because when you give the brain a problem, it will fix it. And a lot of times I'll even ask myself the very specific question is like, what could I be thinking right now that will make me feel better?
Hmm.
And the we'll go and find it.
Yeah.
Every time it will go and find, an affirmation, a memory, a song, something that will make me feel better in that moment. And then things start to flow again.
I love that. I love that. If we had any advice for anybody that's watching or listening in regards to joy and laughter, what would you tell them to do?
I would imagine that I would spend some time because I did this recently, just observing how often you laugh
Yeah.
versus when you don't laugh. And when we talked about that, what, about a month or so ago, I was like, when I started really observing how many times I laugh, I don't laugh a lot,
Yeah.
and like smiling even, maybe start with just smiling, because
Yeah.
I'm serious, and I'm here, I'm
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
my thing.
But you're also fun.
Um,
You're fun.
I try to be fun, yeah, and it's like if I get out of like the get it done mode, then I'm
Yeah.
fun as hell.
Yeah.
But like when I'm in the get it done mode, I am not fun at all. So I'm trying to balance the two of those. But I'm working hard. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, when I'm really trying to get something done, I'm smiling because that goes along with getting things done, and then it lifts my mood, it lifts my spirit, allows things to flow, and I'm finding things just get done so much more easily. I was already the get it done girl. Now I'm like the really get it done girl.
I love that. We will
Yeah,
give you a
I
little
love it.
plaque. The really get it done girl.
I'll really get it done.
Yeah. And I would say if you find something funny, laugh. Now
Right.
there are some
Laugh
times
out loud.
there are some times that are inappropriate, like when I was at church.
Well, why would it be inappropriate at church, though? I mean, like,
Yeah.
church is all about joy.
It should be. It should
I
be.
know.
Yeah.
But honestly, everybody understands that. It's like when you're in church, you're supposed to be silent and
You're supposed
listening.
to
And,
be, focused or whatever. I get it, but it was hilarious. But when it moves you, when you find something that is funny, laugh. Don't hold it. And I think that's what happens. That's why babies laugh 350 times a day and adults laugh 17 if you laugh that much, because some people might not even laugh 17 times a day. You
they may
know?
not even laugh at all in a day.
They may not even laugh and that makes me
I'm
so
sure there have been
sad.
days I didn't laugh once. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guarantee you there have been days like that.
Yeah. And so when you see it, don't worry about what other people are thinking. Like why are they laughing? It doesn't matter. You find that joy and you laugh, and you'll see just how you said when we were doing the laughing yoga, how it just lifted you a little bit, because that's what
It
laughter
lifts you
does.
up. Yes,
Yeah.
and it's almost like the burden lifts, and it's like there's a theory too, like when someone yawns, everyone has to yawn.
Yeah.
But like when people like you laugh and laugh out loud, like belly laugh, it's
Yeah.
real hard for other people not to laugh because even that church example you gave is like there's 20 people in church all laughing.
Everybody
Casey
was
couldn't help
laughing
it.
except for my godfather.
He was only giggling in his head,
He was. He was probably
but being stern about it because you're in
right. He
church.
was like,
But
"Hey," and I was like,
yeah.
"It was funny. Come on, it was
But it
funny."
was infectious. We think laughter is infectious.
Yeah.
It's hard to not be infectious. So
Yeah.
yeah. Keep
Yeah.
yawning, keep laughing.
We need it. We need it. We need more laughter in the world, because life is going to life. There's always going to be struggles. There's always going to be something going on.
Amen.
Always. It doesn't matter what period of time you're in. There's always some chaos happening. And if you can
Yep.
find the joy and if you can find the laughter, at least that would make your little corner of the world a little bit better.
And I honestly agree that it will also build upon itself too, because if you keep putting it off and saying, oh, I just got to kind of slog through this week and next week I could take it a little easier or I can have more fun, then you are missing the whole point. You need to be doing a little bit every day and
Yeah.
it will grow. And then you have a joyful life.
Yeah.
Because even when you're doing things that you need to get done, you're going to find more joy in them.
And it's that stacking that you were talking about earlier as well. You gotta stack the laughter and stack the joy.
Yeah. Stack the laughter, stack the joy. It's sort of like putting deposits in your bank account or in your IRA when you're a kid, and compound interest grows, and all of a sudden you have a lot of money when you retire. It's
Yeah.
the same with laughing. It's the same with loving. It's the same with everything. The more you can do it and build on it, it grows.
Yeah. Such a great conversation. I
I
could
love it.
I love it too. I could talk about this forever. This is
I know. We could
amazing.
probably spend the whole day talking about this, but I'm
I
sure
know.
everybody'd be like, well, I'd rather go laugh somewhere than
Right,
listen to
then
y'all.
listen to y'all. Then listen to y'all talk about laughter. Let me
So
go
we'll
laugh.
wind it up there. I love y'all and I love your laugh, but I gotta go.
Right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much
I agree.
for laughing with me this morning, and
True.
we will talk soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Choice Wisdom Podcast. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the owners or producers of this podcast. The information shared on this podcast is intended to inspire you, but it is not presented as financial, legal, or medical advice. Choice Wisdom is edited by the amazing marketing team at It's a Good Sign, our sponsor located in Dallas, Texas. Copyright 2026, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit choicewisdompodcast.com.